developing how to communicate with animals with Cinderella, that could happen over many years. One playoff game, he's 35 years old, busted Achilles, who has worse style than me. Worse style than me.
Got that right.
You are the only reason that was brought into this argument. Nobody else was force-feeding that into this discussion.
Hey-o, gentlemen!
What's up, fellas?
How we doing? Welcome to the Juice Boys Show. Three brothers-in-law stupid enough to start a weekly sports podcast. Too stupid to stop after 35. Whenever you're listening, however you're listening, thank you for doing so. Shows drop every Friday. Be sure to follow on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the latest and fun pieces of sports content. Joey, how's your trip?
Oh, so
who gives a shit, boys? Let's go. Joey is back. You guys know the drill. We got a big potato. We got, what else we got? We got squeezes of the week. We got a fun stat of the day. We got a big, spicy juice docket. I'm the third turd. We got the juice boy. Joe is back from his cruise. Mr. Bolt Pelletier. The boys are back in town. The band is back together.
Yeah,
Boy, what are we drinking on this fine, fine week? What are we? Joe, you're first. Welcome back. We missed you.
Boys, I'm back, and I got to say, I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh, jeez.
Got a lot of problems with you people. And after listening to this episode, it's just became abundantly clear, damn, you guys need me.
He's been waiting for that joke all week. I'm sure.
Thank you to Mike. You did an amicable job. I was laughing my ass off, especially at your picks for the stranded island. I thought that Michael Phelps that's brilliant. I mean, that might be like
for the wrong reasons, though. For the wrong reasons,
possible reason, but a beautiful pick.
Just sitting back and watching the act of, I just don't get it. I just don't get that part. But anyway, very happy to be back. Excited. Got to see some cool stuff. Got horrifically sunburned. That was hopefully turned into a tan, but it's just going to go straight back to pasty, disgusting white. I drank enough to kill 2 elephants, and so I had to come back to reality and switch it up to something reasonable. And I went with Bullet.
Great tequila.
Okay, so no more tequila, no more rum, no more. It was excellent, but if I have another hurricane, I might die. So I might just die right there.
Hurricane Joe was in town. I love it.
Baby, was I. Roatan, I almost drank them out. All right. Bullet bourbon and the old trusty Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. It goes down so smooth. Just goes so smooth.
Good.
The talent is back.
Back to
the talent Colorado. Is back with us. Joey, I'm glad to hear that you listened to last week's episode. I didn't want to be the bearer of bad news to let you know that you owe us a shot.
Oh, shit.
But you came in already knowing that since you already listened, paid attention to every last moment. The degenerator decided that you need a shot.
And the odds were actually 1 in...
Really,
it was remarkable.
We had 24 options up there.
It was almost like it didn't happen, and you guys just said it happened.
No, Cody could absolutely show you if it genuinely happened.
I got my fireplace going again. Looks like this fire is coming out of this bottle, and I'm about to take it.
Oh, there he goes. And
that was
caught up.
That was a hefty shot. Damn it!
It was a sizable.
I did not mean to do that.
Pull.
His debt is paid. Chris, what are you drinking, my friend?
Yeah, I've got myself a little tin cup old fashioned. Going with a mixie tonight. I don't know why. It sounded good.
Classy broad.
Sounded good. I'm a classy
broad.
Pulpy Pelletier.
Well,
we missed Joe, so in honor of Joe, I thought I'd sip on a little dickle.
Yeah, baby.
A little nip and a dickle, huh? Nip a dickle.
A little nipple a dickle. Dick nipples?
I love it.
Oh, boy. Should we get into this spicy docket?
Yeah.
We got some kind of serious
chaos.
There's a lot going on.
Things just started unraveling like 6 hours after we last recorded with this Ohtani situation.
And Joey's been out, so we got to get Joey up to. I think he's kind of caught up here. But the Shohei Ohtani story is the big one. Let me try to update people and give as much as I can. So Shohei Ohtani from Japan has an interpreter. I guess he's known this guy since he was a teenager.
Yeah.
Interpreter makes $500,000 a year. He somehow got a $4.5 million gambling debt with an illegal bookie in Southern California who's being investigated by the FBI.
Yes.
Come to find out, receipts were uncovered by ESPN that Shohei Ohtani was wiring funds to the illegal bookie. It gets even weirder, folks. Gets even weirder.
Oh, my God.
The interpreter is fired from the Dodgers, and he sits down with ESPN for a 90-minute interview. At this point, he says that Ohtani paid off his gambling debts. So that would mean Ohtani gave an illegal bookie Ohtani's money willingly. The next day, Ohtani hires a crisis PR firm out of California to immediately come back and say, actually, no. The interpreter came back and said, actually, no, I stole from him. I have a gambling problem. I'm really bad at gambling. 2 stories. Ohtani
really
came out.
bad at gambling.
Ohtani came out a few days later with an official statement with a new interpreter, mind you, because the other guy got canned, obviously. Saying that he was stolen. He was a victim of theft, that his friend, who he thought was his friend, logged onto his computer, wired $4.5 million. I think it's 2 payments of $500,000 was the receipts. Ohtani looks believable, but again, it's just a weird kind of thing. But Ohtani's money has wired to an illegal bookie. That's what we know. MLB is investigating. The Fed is investigating. Law firms are involved. I think he's going to keep playing, but this has a potential of fizzling out or being a Pete Rose 2.0. There's no proof that he bet on baseball, but
there's no proof that Ohtani bet at all, which is something here. But the fact that like the big issue is $4.5 million went missing, and how the hell did he not notice? I mean, it's just like so. I mean, it's just like I believe him when he says that he didn't place the bets and that like something happened. But is he? I've heard that he just doesn't care about money, and that's just kind of like his thing, and that's why he deferred this thing with the Dodgers, and that's like he's got a very secretive life. Like people didn't even know that he was dating, and then he just got married out of nowhere, you know. And so I don't know. There's some things in his past, and he's never really been big in the media, big in the limelight. It was hard for me to imagine. He's been in the league for like I think 8 years now. I mean, that's crazy. And so, yeah, that part of his life, of him having that private life is believable. His statement was very believable, you know, but at the same time, A-Rod's was very believable when he said it because everybody really, really wanted to believe A-Rod at that time. People really believed it. People really believed Lance Armstrong when he said that he wasn't doing it. People really believed Jason Giambi, you know, and people really never believed Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Rafael Palmeiro, or Barry Bonds.
But they still said it, though. They still,
you know, and so it's just like I want to believe him, but the track record on this isn't good, and it looks weird as hell.
It looks so weird. The optics are terrible. It feels like Ohtani and his guy initially just come up with the storyline of, hey, just say that I was backing you, I was helping you out, and then as soon as a PR firm took one look at that, they were like, absolutely not. Like,
or did Ohtani's party read the MLB rules and say there's a vague third rule about if you're involved financially with betting books, even if it's not baseball?
You knowingly handing off money that is going to a bookie, that is more than plenty close enough to tear your ass apart. I think that the most likely outcome is that this interpreter gets left, you know, hung out to dry, and the MLB has a very heavy vested interest in wanting this to go away, do enough to be able to say that they did something, but go back to allowing our golden boy to be our golden boy because of how valuable he is to international baseball. So I think that they're... I think that they're willing to hear the story, even though it sounds completely made up.
Shohei Ohtani is the most exciting thing we've seen in baseball ever.
Since Babe Ruth.
I mean, Babe Ruth didn't play against black people. You know, it's just like you can't count that, man. It was a segregated league. You can't count that. Satchel Paige
still count.
Satchel Paige would have beamed him. Satchel Paige would have struck him out. You know, you can't count that. All right, Josh Gibson was probably a better player than Babe Ruth, but you know, it's just never mind. But no, you can't.
Like a Red Sox fan.
A side squeeze, yeah.
So,
I think my biggest argument is why would a bookie allow a $4.5 million credit on a guy making $500,000 unless there was some reassurances? That's my biggest question. That's a large for a illegal booking or bookie to give that kind of credit. To let someone get that far in a hole before they start busting kneecaps, unless there's some kind of reassurance that my buddy has my back, or I can get the money, or they also just found out
some way, shape, or form that like you think that you think that you're going to run this up once the interpreter is in so deep that all of a sudden he's looking at losing fingers and kneecaps. all of a sudden that puts pressure on his buddy Ohtani to maybe be within your grasp. Like that's maybe the only route that I could see this making sense. Otherwise, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, like it's a duck. Like Ohtani did it.
The story, is that where you're going with it? Oh, it's a tough.
I'm hoping. My heart is feeling, oh no, but because I love this player and I love baseball. Baseball practice started today for me because it got snowed out yesterday. So a great way to start the season. Snowed out. On
Spring Mountain baseball, baby.
Yep. And so baseball
it.
started today. 32 kids on the team. Half of them said this. So Shohei Ohtani is a favorite player, of all time. Then you get some kids who were like Mickey Mantle, and I was like, "You're cool. You understand sports." Yeah. I know, but it was just like for this to happen, I gotta hope it's not true because he is unbelievable. He's revolutionary. He seems like a good dude, and he seemed like a good dude in his presser. He seemed like he was putting on emotion. Like maybe he presented it like, "Yeah, dude, one of my best friends just completely screwed me over." And I hope that's the case. But I don't know.
And we should point out they're calling the interpreter a liar who on his resume said he was employed by the Yankees, the Red Sox, and he went to a specific college. All three of these places of employment have official statements saying they have no record of this interpreter being employed by either team or the college. So that part is actually playing in Ohtani's favor of this guy is a liar. He's a weasel. He's going to get his way out of anything. So
am I the only person who does reference checks when I hire people? Who actually actually go back and call? Because people put 13 years of experience, best teacher in the district 3 times. It's like, I'm definitely going to call on that. Yeah, I don't. I don't
double check.
I don't know if I believe that. Yeah.
Or that's a story we will closely follow and I'm sure bring up again, but more gambling problems, guys. It's almost like getting in bed with books and gambling.
Weird.
It's a little tough on these leagues.
Maybe muddies the water a little bit.
What's his name? Jontay Porter, which is Michael Porter Jr.'s brother, is a...
For real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
He's a journeyman, plays for the Raptors. He's now getting investigated for some irregular betting going on. Chris, you just explain it. Take over.
Please, separate times,
take it over.
2 separate times in 1 week, Jontay Porter, just a random bench rider who comes in for a handful of minutes per game.
Never heard of him. I've never heard of him.
Was the number one most profitable payout on DraftKings 2 separate times due to people putting hundreds of thousands of dollars on his unders. The first time he went in, dicked around for a couple of minutes, put up a couple of bricks, and then quote unquote re-aggravated an eye injury. And then the other time wasn't an illness. I read that article briefly yesterday. But either way, like same sort of thing, like
took himself out of the game.
Yeah, your props are void if you don't go into the game. And so he's found a way to get himself into the game, get a few minutes, act like he's actually trying, and then take himself out of the game to guarantee those unders are secure.
Yeah. This looks worse.
This is real bad. This is really bad.
So clearly like manipulated that anyone would be putting hundreds of thousands of dollars on some random journeyman's unders. To have done that multiple times, to have had multiple $100,000+ bets placed on the same person on the same 2 games, making it the highest payout of the night on a sports book the size of DraftKings, like, oh my God.
This is, Cody, you made a really good point. This is like what we should expect now with all this saturation of the sports betting and everything. When ESPN has their own bet, and they can push lines, they could set lines, they could do whatever the hell they want.
We talked about this in the early days of the Juice Boys show.
And now, but it's just like this is going to happen so frequently because you can just get your cousin's brother's friend's nephew to place a bet for you and say, and then like this dude, him taking himself out of the game should be enough to just be like, okay, you're suspended for indefinitely until we can figure this out. That just looks so ridiculously bad. Because I mean,
he's the person to do for life. He's the one that you can take this no name, ban him for life, and hopefully never have to deal with this again. We should also say this player gets paid about $450,000 a year by the NBA or by the Raptors, and so I think a lot of people think of this as Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James, Steph Curry. Those guys will never be touched by this kind of gambling world. It's going to be the no names, the guys
supplemental income.
Yeah, the veteran minimum contracts, the undrafted free agents that impact the game. That's where this is going to go. It's also not a good look that ESPN is talking about this terrible investigation, and then as on the bottom, it's bet here on ESPN Bet. So it's just a fuck show of things going on.
It's bound to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like in this new era of sports betting, how profitable it is, how big these books are, like this was an inevitability.
Yeah, and basketball's the biggest. There's only 5 days on a court.
State. Yeah, basketball is definitely the spot at which one single player can like definitively make sure that things do or don't happen. At least on that individual basis, but like
pitcher in baseball, that's pretty big. I mean, you could throw a game really easily. The start is a start.
Talk to Shohei.
Yeah, you could. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God.
Seriously, like
I've seen him get shelled in the first a couple times hard, and then go out the next game and just dominate. Chris, don't put that in the ether. God.
Come on, man. Like you hear hoofbeats, are you thinking zebras or horses? Like
if I saw zebras outside, I would be very concerned.
Well, that's exactly it. It's more likely that it is what it
zebras
looks
in the
like.
mountains.
Now that would be badass.
Yeah, we're going to also follow that one because I think Adam Silver, he has an opportunity to stomp that quickly by doing a lifetime ban.
While taking absolutely no risk whatsoever versus the MLB is like, shit.
Not Jontay.
That's our guy.
No.
Oh, no, Jontay. He was about to really turn the corner, man.
All right, guys, and let's wrap it up with another NFL quick hit list. We've been doing this with the offseason, a lot of updates still coming out of the NFL. Good for them. New rules updates. We're banning the hip drop tackle. A lot of controversy there. New kickoff rules have been confirmed. So that whole game is changing on special teams. Yep. There's going to be 2 Christmas Day games on a Wednesday this year. So NFL is taking it, shoving it up in the NBA's ass. And now roughing the passer, and I think another rule or 2 becomes reviewable in a different kind of way. You have until 20 seconds on the play clock to potentially re-review it on more egregious calls. What sticks out to you? What do you guys think? Do you like any of these? Do you hate any of these? What do we like?
I mean, the most obvious one, like banning the hip tackle, like I get that you're trying to protect knees, but like you're just completely hamstringing the defense. You're just continually chiseling away at defenders' ability to be effective in stopping an offense. And then the ongoing joke is like, what the hell do you do about Derrick Henry then? A guy who's just a bowling ball, just a beast. Like your only hope is to grab him by the hips and just use your momentum to try and get him down. Like you're not otherwise dropping his shoulder and just putting him on the ground. Like I think that this completely just cripples defenders' ability to do their job.
I think it's a specific type of hip drop tackle, the one where you kind of grab and then rotate yourself to the ground because you're landing on their foot. But it's going to turn into like a pass interference. Every ref's going to see a different angle. It's going to be a really judge.
I mean, you got the hawk tackle or the gator tackle was brought in by rugby. And that's where you're supposed to get your head around in front and then swing around and use your body's momentum to pull with their momentum as they're going forward to whip them around. This is saying you go back behind them and then you drop your body and you're pulling into the ground almost like a horse collar, and so that way, like it leaves the runner completely defenseless because they're there and they're wrapped up and they're just falling straight backwards. So they said that this happened 250 something times last year and it resulted, I think, in 12 injuries.
And those 12 were very severe, right?
Weren't they? Them were like catastrophic.
Yeah.
And so it's just like this is same thing they did with the horse collar tackle. So I agree with that aspect, but the way that they're presenting it is way too murky. And they're just saying hip drop tackles. It's not a hip drop tackle. It's like you have to be pulling them backwards and then leaving your feet and using your body to pull them backwards. So the rule is too vague.
It's going to be another judgment call. It's going to be like a pass interference where one team's going to think it was, one team's going to think it wasn't. Fans are going to be confused. And then the new kickoff rules, guys, they took it from the XFL, a lot more player safety.
Yes.
The best I can describe it, there's a landing zone that the kicker has to kick it in the landing zone. If you let it bounce and it goes in the end zone, then it's a touchback. If you kick it in the end zone, the team gets it at like the 30 or 40.
I don't know if it's that far. Maybe
There's
30.
something where you get to the 40, though.
Okay.
And if you kick it short of the landing zone, it's a really weird thing. It's going to be interesting
That
to
might
watch.
be the one then. To get to
Yeah,
40,
but special teams is about to change big time. So
You
this
have to
will be very
announce
interesting
an
to watch.
onside. You have to announce that you are doing it. There's no more surprise onside kicks.
Yes, because if people haven't seen this in the XFL, there's two lines. There's a line of defenders and a line of offense. They are about 5 yards away from each other.
Yeah, I think that they're 10 yards away from each other. I think that the defenders the blockers are on the 30 and the attackers are on the 40-yard line. And then the catching zone, I think, is the 20 to touchdown. And but you can't move until the ball is caught by the returner. So
Okay.
Yep, and then it's really just one-on-one, you against your blocker. It's supposed to get rid of full-speed collisions because it's only a 10-yard difference.
Just those big, turn a dude into a fine paste sort of hits.
we're going to see a lot more rugby kickers. Because you're going to need a last line of defense. You're going to need somebody who's going to come up and stick them if they get past that line.
The old Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
So this is probably the biggest, maybe the biggest change in
the game,
ever.
It might be.
It's a fundamental change to football.
Maybe adding the 2-point conversion is
change,
a really big one. Or just the invention of the forward pass.
Hold on there.
That's a pretty big one.
Dang. All right. And to wrap up, Chris, will you quickly give us a breakdown of the March Madness bracket? Thank you so much to everybody. We got almost 90 people signed up.
Oh my
our biggest bracket ever.
Boys,
Chris,
our biggest bracket ever.
Of two.
Which our last bracket comes just behind in second place of two possible places. The Juice Boys Show Bracket Challenge wound up with 87 people in it.
Woo!
As of right now, whoever DK1 the Geico monster is in first place with
just edging me out
with a 99.7% pick rate. That's fantastic. And then Juice Boy Joe, the old Sultan of Sift.
Hell yeah.
We've got Mavericks #1 fan Saul's Balls. Way to go, Saul's Balls.
Yeah, Saul's Balls.
In second place. Lil Juice.
Well, Juice coming to play
in fifth, and then from there it's a whole lot of different people. To the people who are ESPN fan, blah 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 blah.
We don't know who you are.
Shoot us a DM so that we know who the hell you are. That way, if you wind up being owed some dickle, we've got preemptive dickle ready.
Some anonymous dickle.
Yeah. Cody loves some strange dickle. All right. But
Mr. Irrelevant, please.
Can
I get the bottom two?
Yeah, well, bottom two are ESPN fans, something or other, and our mother-in-law, both of whom forgot to submit their picks. So we're going to go ahead and skip past them because that feels like it doesn't count. In second to last place, Cody's wife.
Let's go.
Maggie.
And I talked to her about that, and she blames Cody because Cody told her to just hit autofill. And 3 of her final 4 didn't make it out of the round of 60.
She had Akron.
Asshole.
She had Akron.
Akron winning. Wow. That's a terrible
after
autofill.
After that in actual last place is Jackie Moon.
Let's go, Jackie.
Anybody have any idea who that is?
They want Tennessee, so they're still alive.
They've got Tennessee. Yeah, they're not.
It's obviously Jackie Moon.
They've got a top potential of 1,240. So that's not terrible. Actually, the second worst potential total. There's somebody who could do worse than Cody's wife. I hope both teams win who chose the CSU Rams.
Let's go Rams.
Oh, gosh.
Go Rams.
Way to go. Way to go.
Pick.
Oh, my
Let's
God.
go.
I love all of this.
Well, thank you for everyone who did it. We're going to do it next year and go even bigger, but it's been super fun getting everyone
it's
in
been
there.
a blast. Hell yeah. Thank
New
you,
community
everybody.
members,
This is
sports morons.
fantastic.
Got a sports moron, but that'll do it for the Sports Talker, boys. Music break. All right, boys, we're so back with Squeeze of the Week. Of course, this is our most outlandish takes. Submit yours. Joey will tell us how to do that here soon.
That's
We
right.
got Joey on the list. I probably to defend his garbage ass take from last week.
Oh, just so
Since he
bad.
wasn't here. We have another
You
listener.
guys are so weak, so soft.
So bad.
Oh, God.
Solved.
Do better.
Solved.
But before we do that, we have James is fucking back again.
My man.
James from the UK. He's back on the Cinderella talk. This has been a debate that's lasted about a month and a half, and I have loved it.
It's lasted a while.
James has agreed with me. You two hooligans do not agree. A lot of people have been texting, DMing us, giving their thoughts on this. But James said, oh my gosh, according to Chris, even Cinderella doesn't now qualify for her own story because she was born into money. She's been canceled, in parentheses, by a white male. This is in reference to Chris calling out Cinderella a few weeks ago. So go listen to a few weeks ago on that. Once again, it's rags to riches. Is Nebraska in poverty today compared to other teams? Have they never won before? Yes, you can win in the past, have a proud history, but then you need to win. What is he saying? But then you need to not win again for a long time and suffer real hardship, become a has-been, and there has to be more to it than just a great franchise going through a tough time. The Patriots need Kraft to die, leave the franchise to an addict, become a laughingstock, then win to be a Cinderella story. Anything else is a miracle season, a great season, a David and Goliath season. Oh my gosh, stop. There are other stories in Cinderella. Stop shoehorning everything into one story label if the shoe don't fit. This is all
close.
in a debate about the CFP becoming 14 fucking different teams in it, and they're debating a Cinderella story. So as the Cinderella debate comes to a beautiful crash and burning end, what do we think of James's last piece here?
Are we done after this?
Until the fall.
We throw in the white flag.
Well, what if there's a Cinderella story in March
There
Madness?
will be this first. No, I mean, the only real shot we still have left is in NC State, right? The 11.
Yeah, Power
So
5 school who just won the ACC tournament. Get out the fuck out. Yeah.
They're still 11.
They still won the ACC tournament with Duke and
They miraculously won on
did
the back.
Cinderella.
It does not matter.
of
They
the
won.
biggest hoss in basketball. I love that.
big country, baby.
Big country.
Big country. So there's no Cinderella stories left in March Madness. You called your Patriots out
NC
there.
State will be. Oh, I agree with that. There's no way the Patriots will be a Cinderella story until, they get the first pick in the draft in maybe 4, 5, 6 consecutive seasons of just like absolute train wreck, and then they can come back. No, their chance of being Cinderella is over. I think
there's one and only one team in the NFL that can be called a Cinderella story, and that would require the Panthers to win the Super Bowl this year.
this
In a year that they're not
this year.
Specifically only this year. Otherwise, I don't think I could ever call a team in the NFL a Cinderella
Professional
story.
teams can't be Cinderellas. It has to be teams
Correct.
that are recruited and grown.
I'll drink to
and
that.
it's going to be
Except for
it
the
will.
Panthers.
Except for the Panthers, because they'll
give you 1 year.
Yeah, their owner is
If you're a
actively
dumpster
trying. It's
fire.
like the real major league movie where like he's really trying to make them lose. Like this guy is going
So
out
bad.
there and just like, what can I do to make this team the worst team in the league and lose all of my fans? Like you look at this map of the most hated team in each state, and the Panthers are the most hated team in North Carolina. That is where they're from. They're the most hated in that state. I mean, it's that doesn't. Yeah, he's horrible. So yeah, professional teams can't ever be Cinderellas. A non-competitive Power 5 team like Nebraska has been can be a Cinderella story if they just come out of nowhere next year. If they go undefeated, run the table next year, that'll be a Cinderella story. You got to be kidding me.
What?
I mean, they have not been good in like 30 years, dude.
So at that point, they'd be the number
2001.
one ranked. They would be the number one ranked team in the country if that was it. They wouldn't be a Cinderella story going into the CFP playoffs.
It's not just when the playoffs start; it's the whole season.
No, it doesn't. If the playoffs is the Cinderella story, you have to even win to get a game in a Cinderella situation.
So Cinderella's story only happened during that movie or that book. What about all the years that she was just spit on and beaten and having to communicate with animals because she had no
Yeah, that's
friends?
one season.
Okay, but that doesn't just happen in a day, Cody, where that movie took place, or that book, developing how to communicate with animals with Cinderella, that could happen over many years. Okay, all her only friends were like the farm mice.
It's a skill set she had to learn. Is that what
I'm pretty sure we're confusing Cinderella and Snow White right now, but I'm not a Disney guy.
Cinderella spoke to mice.
Did she? Oh, okay.
Did.
You're calling that like a skill set she built from her rags to
because she was so neglected and put away and pushed down that she had no one to talk to, that she taught mice how to speak. All right, that is like
what a skill set.
That is where Nebraska is at right now. Okay, they've been through 30 years of trying to figure out how to teach anyone how to play.
We're in the lab talking to mice, Cody. You wouldn't get it.
Oh my gosh, Joey, why has no one called that out? How long? There's so many questions there. How long did it take Cinderella to teach mice how to speak?
And do her chores.
While getting bitched at by her family, her stepfather. I lost my train. What did
putting
you
in
say,
the work?
No one thought about
what
that.
We were trying to make. What are we trying to talk about?
Cinderellas will happen, and that it's not just
no. You can't be the number
development of overtime. Development over time.
Not even close. It's one season. It's all one season.
Yeah, it's one season. That's what Joey's saying.
Yes.
Yeah. If you run the table and you're undefeated, then at that point you're a top 5 team, and you're not going to be a Cinderella story.
Is anyone thinking that Nebraska is going to go undefeated and be number 1 overall seed? No. So because in that, yeah, okay, Chris. But I'm saying, but that's it, and that's what would make that a Cinderella story. They came out of nowhere and dominated.
But at that point, they would have been given a number 1 ranking. So then everyone's acknowledging.
I genuinely think that if Nebraska ran the table in the regular season, they still wouldn't be number 1.
It's not a Cinderella sentence.
They're so far back.
It's a Cinderella story.
That's like UCF running the table. They never cracked beyond, I think, number 6.
So why does no one say the word Cinderella story until March Madness, the 2nd and 3rd round starts? Because it's never mentioned the entire
seeing
season.
These teams that are going to be able to get there and work their way up. It's not just your Cinderella story in the Elite 8. You got to get there.
Yeah. So what is the regular season means nothing. That's what my point is. You just proved my point. You literally just proved my point.
You got to get there.
Yeah. That's fine, but the regular season doesn't matter.
The regular season's part of it. You can't just get the playoffs.
Joey, who's the biggest Cinderella story in March Madness history?
NC State.
When?
Jim Valvano. When they beat Georgetown.
Okay, what did they do the regular season?
They were 11 seed.
The regular season, dipshit. What did they do? You have no clue because it doesn't matter.
They got to there.
That's fine.
They got to the dance.
Yes,
they made the dance.
That's fine.
The dancing, baby.
You didn't call them a Cinderella story until they made it. It doesn't matter. The regular season doesn't fucking matter at all. Damn it, James. Thanks, James, for setting that in. Yeah. All right. Squeeze number 2. I see Joey on here. If you didn't listen last week, also we gave a shout out, but thanks to Mr. Mike for popping in and filling in. Please. Hilarious episode. He will be back with all 4 of us.
At some
point,
a
huge impact on this show. Yeah. So love you, Mike. Thanks for being a part of that. Joey had a trash-ass take, according to me and Chris, on the Justin Fields situation being traded to
Lamar
Pittsburgh
Jackson
and Lamar Jackson for a bag of Doritos. He pulled the race card. He threw a fucking grenade in there for Chris and I did. And his guest Mike to have to deal with. Mm-hmm. Jeez.
Yeah.
And he just got to sit on his ass on a cruise, drink all he wanted while we had to discuss race as 3 white guys
Get hammered.
On a podcast.
That's right.
Sunburn his belly button.
You guys are looking at this in the completely wrong lens. First of all, I would say that you guys lack what the real sentence is not gastrointestinal fortitude. It's just intestinal fortitude. You guys lack the intestinal fortitude to take on these big topic ideas like this. All right.
Okay.
Now, my focus.
You wrote
my
the topic down and then went to a different fucking country.
Yeah, you went to
talked about it. We at least had a conversation.
Where were you
Back to you, Joe.
Yeah, where were you at?
My point
We're in the trenches taking grenades.
These guys are getting overvalued, overlooked, and pushed aside because of their new skill set that doesn't fit the ancient old bullshit mold that has been the NFL for 40, 50
Overvalued or undervalued?
They're overlooked and undervalued.
Oh,
okay, they're overlooked, underpaid, and undervalued.
We made it.
Okay, the game is completely changing, and I think you guys took a complete bullshit cop out by saying job security. Job security is bullshit. You get job security. You get to keep your job by taking risks and then working. You like look at what just happened with the vanilla paste Bronco bullshit that just happened, going in there and getting the safe option of Russell Wilson, who is 34 years old.
Who's also black.
Yes, but that's because you guys are focusing too much on the race part of it. The race was
That's what did that. You are the only reason that was brought into this argument. Nobody else was force feeding that into this discussion but you, Joe.
What the hell?
What I said.
You used a black
You're the
quarterback.
one who brought it up. You're still the one who brought it up.
Good. Now,
no matter what.
At the same time, there was other options. When this trade was going on, Lamar Jackson was a potential available option for the Broncos. Guess what happened? They did not take him, and he got an MVP the next season. Who did they say? The one that was going to be the trusted, easy, safe pick, the fucking vanilla paste Kirk Cousins. No, what's going to happen? You're going to go out there and you're going to spend all this freaking money on a guy who's won one freaking playoff game, who's 35 years old, busted Achilles, who has worse style than me. Worse style than me.
Got that
all right? You're not going to bring in any new fans, not going to bring in any new excitement by getting that guy. Kirk Cousins brought his family to a game in the Twins, and nobody even knew who he was. Okay, and they're saying that's where you're going to bring into a struggling franchise who's trying to bring it back instead of going after two young, athletic, black people to go to Atlanta to go and be this new star and future for their franchise. This is absolutely insane. If you were saying their job security, if Kirk Cousins is going to be your job security, you should be fucking fired right now. You should be fired right now. And the Broncos, if they're going to go after stupid ass JJ McCarthy because Jim Harbaugh says that he's good, or Bo Nix because he can throw several 3-yard slants. No, hell no. That's not what we're looking for. We got to get a talent, future generational talent, something that can be coached. And these people who are getting rid of people because they can't freaking coach them, then you shouldn't be a freaking coach in the NFL. He doesn't fit my system. Change your goddamn system. Change your system to a system that is working and productive, that got the Ravens #1 seed last year in the AFC Championship game. All right, now they're going against the juggernaut that is Patrick Mahomes, but that was the best that and anybody else really played them, and especially their defense. So it's just no, the Ravens took a chance drafting him at 32 in the first round. The Heisman Trophy winner, a guy who is arguably the best athlete we've seen since Bo Jackson, fell to 32nd pick in the draft. Why? Because he looks different. He talks different. He doesn't sit back there and throw. And he's not just going to be your golden boy of Tom Brady and Josh Allen and all this shit. No, take a risk on somebody different. Somebody that's going to improve you and bring in new fans and make it awesome. It's
you think Lamar Jackson's Bo Jackson?
I think he's the best athlete you've seen since him.
What? That's a whole different thing.
No, name somebody who's a better athlete.
Justin Fields, then. He's a younger version of it.
Justin Fields is not a better athlete.
Also, Justin Fields is 11-29. So all this complaining you're doing is to trade for a guy who's 11-29.
Undercoached, undervalued.
You still have to say it, though. That's his career.
That was not a lazy take. That's a good take, assholes.
So my favorite thing is Joey first puffs his chest up, sits up nice and tall, and tells us that he's going to tackle the challenging, difficult task of talking about racism in the NFL, and then never mentions racism.
I did. You did.
You sidestepped the entire.
I said he's not fitting the mold, the classic mold of that he looks different.
Wait a minute, the mold is white?
He's been different. Yes. The mold of a quarterback is a white, sit in the pocket and throw quarterback.
The face of the league is black.
Let's talk about athletes who come in and play quarterback and find success and find themselves valued. Let's talk about Cam Newton, somebody that was the predecessor to Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields, who was brought in, who put on weight, gained more capability within being a pocket passer. Let's talk about Michael Vick, the original dual threat quarterback of this, kind of current generation, I guess, being flexible with that.
That's what we do.
A guy who went to prison and came back and was brought back and highly paid, highly touted, was taken seriously due to his arm strength and also his creativity with his legs. Let's also talk about athletes who are dual threats that, don't fit the mold, but do fit the mold of being white. Let's talk about Johnny Manziel, a guy who on the field, rose to prominence due to his ability to get creative with his leg, but still place the ball where it needs to go as a quarterback. Let's talk about Tim Tebow, a guy who rose to prominence due to his ability to get creative with his leg, put the ball where it needed to be, and dig deep and overcome at the college level. Now, Johnny Manziel's dipshit decision-making found him out of the NFL, but Tim Tebow, just couldn't get it done. And so were any of them an
MVP? Absolutely not. And that's my point. He's an MVP, and you had your chance, and nobody freaking took it.
You're right. Okay, so that's where I hop in here. He was injured the year before that. He wanted $200 million in guaranteed money.
Yeah,
and the Falcons.
And so you're going to give that to Kirk Cousins.
Yes, they were forced to because they drafted Desmond Ridder with a high draft pick. The Falcons were sitting between
when they could have signed Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but you drafted Ridder to be your franchise. You didn't know he wasn't your franchise till this year. They were stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now they're overcorrecting. You could have given
less money to Lamar Jackson than they gave to Kirk Cousins.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree, but they're trying to cover up a mistake.
That's retroactive history. That's retroactive history.
He only won one MVP.
To say that now, because they're in a shitty position because they took a gamble and lost, now all of a sudden you get to go back and say, see, I told you so. Yeah. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, he had one MVP and was injured the year before. Why would you give anyone $200 million?
Okay, you're bringing up these other guys in the past, all right? Let's look at another one. You said these outstanding athletes and how I'm saying they are undervalued. They're undervalued because they are not the stereotypical mold. Now, Michael Vick, yes, he killed a bunch of dogs and went to jail for 2 years, all right? But do you know how much he made in his career? $25 million in salary. That's it. Okay? Cam Newton.
How does that compare to people at the same time?
Listen to this. Are
we comparing against current?
Yes,
or previous, because $25 million from 10 years ago, 15 years ago was a decent paycheck.
Still,
especially for a dude who took 2 years off to go to fucking prison.
He's the biggest thing. Now, Cam Newton, Newton made $121 million in his career. All right, guess how much Kirk Cousins is going to make by the time his career is over?
We talked about this last week.
$470 million. He's making more money than Tom Brady made in his career.
How much is Pat Mahomes going to make? Over $1 billion by the time it's over.
Pat Mahomes.
Well, that's
we're talking about quarterbacks and payments, and you wanted to force feed that into being
a race issue.
I think it is.
So what I see is each of those quarterbacks has moved the needle for the next quarterback, and now Pat Mahomes is going to make $1 billion in his playing career. Joe, let's all take a breath.
Yeah. I got points that you guys just don't want to face.
What?
I got points.
Jeez.
No, you don't. We have faced every single point you've laid out and exposed that you're full of shit.
Absolutely not.
Joey.
Undervalued, underpaid.
Oh, if people want to submit their squeezes of the week, because we'll read them on this program. How do they do so?
Will be a starter by the end of the season. Listener, you can submit your most outlandish sports take by emailing us at juiceboyshow@gmail.com or send us a DM on Instagram at juiceboyshow. Yeah, I'm going to tell Chase has got 2 S's, but it's not written in there. Thank you, Mike, for throwing that in. And if it has,
he really caught me off guard with that.
Yeah. If it has the pulp, then we'll read it on the show. Chris.
Yes, sir.
Who's sponsoring today's show?
Fellas, baseball season is upon us, and every sports book on the planet is trying to get your money. And sure, you can go with one of the boring, traditional sports books. But remember, only one sports book will allow you to take out a tab of up to $4 million. The Ohtani Sportsbook, the hottest, newest sportsbook to hit the market looking to clean out your life savings. The Ohtani Sportsbook is currently only authorized to allow gambling on Dodgers games, but we're currently in the works to add Toronto Raptors games soon as well. And if you sign up before the first pitch of the MLB season, your first bet is insured up to 150,000 yen. And sure, we recognize you may be throwing away the biggest contract in sports history for these bets. But look at it this way. What's $700 million when you could win infinite money on the Ohtani Sportsbook? The Ohtani Sportsbook, the only sportsbook that will take kidneys and kneecaps as collateral to help you buy time to pay off the Yakuza.
Oh my gosh, guys. Well, we got a starchy ass potato. This is a big one. Super excited to do it. This was Chris's a while back here. We got the biggest fall from grace as an athlete, non-injury related. A few different ways here. You can go maybe scandal related. You could go just fell off a cliff talent-wise. No injuries. Joey, you're back. I guess we'll give Chris the first pick.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, we should say, sorry, the Roman Coliseum is
That's right.
Pete Rose and O.J. Simpson. These boys are leading the league in scandals.
Yeah.
Pete Rose bet on baseball in games he was playing and coaching, and O.J. Simpson.
Careful with what you say about OJ. He's my friend. We're going on a road trip.
Yeah.
I think you want to want to word that. He's
O.J. Simpson. Everyone, go Google it if you're too young. Anyway, they're off limits because they're way too obvious.
Yeah. Done some bad stuff.
Continue.
All right,
Pete Rose betting as a manager. Woo. Woo.
So my first pick for a fall from grace, Urban Meyer.
Ooh, that's
and
a good one.
specifically
Dude.
Urban Meyer.
Wow.
Leaving college football coaching as the hottest name in coaching. I mean, every single head coaching vacancy in Power 5, every single head coaching vacancy in the NFL, like his name was the top of the list. Every single team was trying to, potentially poach him away from, his new job of being a talking head back into being a head coach. And the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021 won that lottery, believed to have won that because they basically told him, like, you can have complete control over the team. And we have the number 1 draft pick, which,
Dude,
Trevor
at the
Lawrence.
time, that pick was like the biggest thing since Elway.
gold.
I mean,
Yeah.
everybody was saying that he was going to be, him and Andrew Luck is like the most surefire picks you can take. You know?
So the reason that Urban Meyer is tippity top of everybody's tongue is, he's a 3-time national champion in college football, twice in Florida, once with Ohio State. Brought Ohio State back to being a perennial powerhouse after the whole, after the whole scandal around tattoos. Went ahead and dove into NFL head coaching and had himself a bit of an abysmal start. Didn't do so great. And that was quickly followed up with Urban not taking losses well. Urban coached the Jags in Cincinnati against the Bengals. They lose that game. And Urban decides that he doesn't want to travel home with his team. He instead hops in a car, drives to Columbus, Ohio, to watch the Ohio State game that Saturday, but instead spent his time that Saturday in a bar, dancing with a co-ed
In his bar.
and fondling her. So that video leaks. He goes ahead and apologizes for that. Soon after, the Jags kicker, Josh Lambo, releases a statement saying that Urban Meyer kicked him while he was stretching at a practice. Josh Lambo's response was, "Don't ever kick me again." Which Urban Meyer, gracious as he possibly could be, doubled down saying, "I'm the head ball coach. I'll kick you whenever I fucking want."
Oh, wow.
All from grace.
Yeah, all from grace. And all of this wonderful off-field shenanigans was coupled with a beautiful on-field record of 2-11. At which time the Jags decided, you know what, we don't really want Urban Meyer. He found himself fired by before the end of that very first season. Found his way back to a talking head position, and has gone ahead and not mentioned any of those shenanigans ever since.
It's just so Fox to put him on their number 1, like their top dais, like up there on their Fox, like Saturday morning or whatever. And it's this big noon kickoff. It's just no one.
Just don't say a word.
Do you know what just happened?
Yeah.
Was he
Save it
there?
for- save
Did
it for
you
his
see
book.
this?
Yeah.
All
Joey
he did
beat
was
it.
just scream at his team. That was his entire coaching approach.
Good for Urban. What a name. Does anyone know any other Urbans as a first name?
No.
Joey, number 2
No,
or number 1 for you.
Number one. All right, so mine
You're
is
number
yes,
one.
mine is yes. It's cliche. It probably could have been a Coliseum, But for me, this one just really, really hit home because when this fall from grace happened, I was currently like at that time, I was battling stage 3 testicular cancer, and Lance Armstrong
I'm so glad you're going with this.
was my boy. You know, Lance Armstrong was the shit. He was somebody who just created this whole idea of not just acceptance of cancer. Obviously, people aren't going to be like, oh, you have cancer. Gross. All right. But for a while, it was just like, you have cancer and you're just a kind of like you're shunned because no one knows what to do or talk to you. He gave this live strong, gave this thing like you could still go out there, you could still be active. We're like with all this amazing support, this networking of people. They made the wristbands cool, you know, and all these things.
Everyone had those.
Like everyone had those. And the thing, the dude was a cyclist. Can you name a other cyclist? Any other one ever?
No.
No. Okay. No. And so he became the most recognizable name in sports. People, I watched the Tour de France. When he won it 7 times, then he retired. He came back 3 years later after retirement to help one of his dudes on the USA team win, and he came, I think, like in 2nd or 3rd in that time doing it. All right, this whole time there was allegations about it, but he was blood doping, and so you couldn't really test for that. And I didn't know what the hell blood doping was. It's like literally you take your blood out and add oxygen to it or add more blood cells to it, and so you can just go and just get. So like his resting heart rate was like 29. It was just it was like a beat every 2 seconds. Okay. And so, yeah, you're going to be able to go faster uphill than you go on flat ground. All right. Because it's just like your muscles are going that much harder and you have that much more oxygen in your body. That's an unbelievable advantage. Okay. And so then, and then when he said that he didn't use steroids in the beginning of his career, but I think he absolutely did after he had cancer. Every single time I've seen anybody that I've kind of agreed with them using performance-enhancing drugs is when it's coming back from an injury, when they're trying to get their body back to where it was. Apparently, after that, Lance Armstrong was using a bunch of steroids and a bunch of performance-enhancing drugs on his second go-around, and then his arrogance of his popularity, his wealth, his name. He was married to Sheryl Crow. I mean, the dude was like the biggest thing in America, really kind of like the world. He was massive. All right. And then it comes out all these scandals. And then he comes on Oprah and says, yeah, I did it. And then it comes out that he is just an absolute piece of shit. And that, like, I mean, I read his book and it was a really big deal for me. And I was going through chemo. I was reading his book. I'm like, man, this guy had done 7 Tour de France's. I could do this. And then I found out, yeah, you had some help. And that was a massive, horrific fall from grace. And it was just more, yes, in the sporting world, but also the cultural world, pop culture. I mean, just he started like an absolute fashion trend. I mean, with those wristbands. I mean, I still have 2 on right now. You know, not of Livestrong, but of other ones.
You have to live strong.
You know, I had that for years.
You're still living strong.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw a Joey at us and do a 2-for-1.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go the Cocaine Brothers of the Mets in the '80s. We're gonna go Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden.
They were on my list, baby. They were on my list.
Oh, of course.
Doc Gooden made his MLB debut at age 19, and he ended up being second in the Cy Young voting that year as a 19-year-old. His second year, he had a record 1.53 ERA. He struck out 268 hitters, won the Cy Young as, what would that be, a 20-year-old?
Yeah.
Got a little too into the booger sugar and never quite got back into it.
When you say a little bit, you got a lot of it.
Yes. Yeah. So he was suspended for cocaine use.
He's one half of a group called the Cocaine Brothers, but he got a little bit into it.
He was suspended for cocaine use, suspended again for testing positive during his other cocaine suspension. He relapsed during his current cocaine suspension. Mm-hmm. Not to be outdone, Mr. Darryl Strawberry was on pace to break just about every hitting record ever.
Yeah.
He got into the old booger sugar as well. He had 280 career home runs by age 29. Like I said, was on pace. Also had a story, one of my favorites, of fucking hookers in between innings in the locker room. which I think is just insane and hilarious.
That's
all
unbelievable.
Those 86 Mets teams were so unhinged that they were unhinged.
Yeah.
They were drinking coffee in the
Instead
dugout.
of water, right?
Instead of water to come because they were coming down off their Coke. I mean, they were drinking coffee in the dugout. Doc Gooden was so unbelievably annihilated, messed up during the parade that he was in a bar for 4 days. No one knew where he was. He was gone.
Yeah.
He missed the celebration parade for the 86 Mets. It's insane.
Look at that. So the Cocaine Brother, my first pick.
But you know that Doc came back after like 6 years or something. I think it was in 1996 and pitched a perfect game for the Yankees. So that
1996 and the Yankees.
Yeah. Was that right? 96? Hell yeah, man.
Wow.
I just pulled that out of my ass. And that was the dude was an unbelievable talent. Just so sad.
Could have been potentially the greatest pitcher the world has ever since Walter Johnson and Simon. Like it's just
and one of the best pure hitters we've ever seen in baseball history. I mean, it was just
he likes it pure.
He likes it pure.
Damn right. Chris for number 2.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I mean, you know, they fell from grace, but they fell into a foot of fresh powder, and they were good. They felt no pain.
Ain't
Tony
that
Montana.
the truth? Ain't that the truth?
Oh my God! So fellas, for my next one, I wanted to go with a guy who had a literal fall. Are either of you familiar with Bobby Petrino?
You did go
This
there.
is a good literal ball. This is a good one.
Oh my God! So dear listener, Bobby Petrino, in case you didn't know, was the head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks, and he was let go in 2012. And he was let go in 2012 after an 11-2 season in 2011, in which the core of his team had already said they were pretty much all coming back. They were coming back with a chip on their shoulder. They wanted to go at LSU and Alabama. They wanted to go and have their moment in the sun, win an SEC championship. And Bobby Petrino thought that would be a great opportunity to go ahead and get himself fired. So Bobby Petrino on April 1st of 2012 wrecked his motorcycle. So he had himself a little fall.
Oh, poor guy.
I know. And you may be asking yourself, why would a wrecked motorcycle lead to a fall from grace? Well,
tell us.
Bobby Petrino was riding that motorcycle with his newly hired player development coordinator, who is a recent graduate from the University of Arkansas and a former member of the Arkansas volleyball team, and also his mistress.
Oh, damn it.
So recently graduated from college. Mind you, Bobby Petrino was like 60.
He was 51 years old, married, father of 4, and had a 25-year-old mistress at the time who he paid $20,000 to in a gift soon after this, and has refused to comment on what that gift was about. But one would expect that's called hush money.
Damn it.
So the two of them were caught. In the ensuing investigation, it was found that their relationship was ongoing for, quote unquote, a significant amount of time. I don't know if that means back when she was actually on the volleyball team, she was part of like some sort of alumni fundraising organization after graduation, what have you. Either way, dumbass Bobby Petrino shows up to a press conference right after his wreck, beat to all holy hell and wearing a neck brace, and initially is very, very cagey about the details of his motorcycle accident, and then all of a sudden finds out that the 911 report and phone call are going to be leaked here shortly, and calls himself another press conference very quickly and is like, okay, so here's the actual thing with this girl. We probably shouldn't have been riding together. By the way, she's my mistress. I'm sorry. I'm on administrative leave. Bye-bye.
And then fired. But listener, if you have not seen the picture, we got to post
definitely Google it.
We got
actually, I think it might be the cover art for this week.
Oh,
we got to post it. It is.
Let's go,
it is one of the most hysterical press conferences you will ever. He looked like he crashed on his face. Like, and it was just his face. It was like the
so
movie
bad.
Cocaine Bear when she got pulled out of the back of the ambulance and his face is just dragging on the concrete.
Did you just
I mean,
reference Cocaine Bear? How many
Yeah, it was
times
on
can we
my
reference
mind. It was
cocaine
on
in
my
one?
mind.
What's he up to these days? Well, he's back coaching in Arkansas.
Joey number 2, baby. What a pick. We're on a heater, boys. We're on a
Oh my
heater.
God.
I'm going with another sport that I don't normally talk about much. I'm going MMA. You know, and
okay.
everybody remembers the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey.
Absolutely.
All right. Oh my God. Ronda Rousey took America by storm. And people were like paying attention to the women's side of UFC for the first time, I think probably at that level ever. And when the baddest bitch on the planet, Ronda Rousey, comes out to Joan Jett, I don't give a damn about my reputation. And everybody just goes absolute ape shit, you know, and then she goes out there and beats the living hell out of everybody. Ronda Rousey from 2011 to 2015, she started her career 12-0. Okay, 12-0. Like, and no one even came close to beating her. Most of them were done, most of them in the first round by submissions. Okay, and she would just destroy people. All right. Now, this all got built up into UFC 193 against Holly Holm. And as I was watching Holly Holm coming up, and I was like saying this before this started, I was like, watch out for her. This woman's a freak. Like, she is extremely
insane
strong. Insane boxer.
Insane.
But what really got her was that Ronda Rousey was a grappler. Ronda Rousey was a submission. She wasn't, I mean, she had a good strike, but she would make you tap out in like under a minute almost every single time. Okay. She goes up against Holly Holm. Holly kicks her with a leg across the face, knocks her completely out. And Ronda Rousey, still to this day, has never recovered. Right. And now I don't know if it was just because it was that big of a hit. Yeah, she got a bad concussion, right?
I mean,
but this was
rambled her brain.
This was psychological. She thought that she was the biggest, baddest woman on the planet until she just was not at that 1 second. Right? She tries to come back, and her next fight is against Amanda Nunes, who is arguably the best women's fighter of all time. And she gets dropped, beat to a pulp in 48 seconds.
Hot pulp.
We have not seen her fight again.
Nope.
Right? So from March 26, 2011 to November 14th, 2015, she was 12-0. All right? After that, she took a full year off for the Amanda Nunes fight. And since December 30th, 2016, we have not seen her fight. Now, she did a stint in WWE.
Unless you watch, wrestling. Yeah.
She did a stint in WWE, and then she apparently just couldn't hack the time, the commitments, everything, is you're constantly on every single week, any of that. And she just bowed out. So from being everywhere, everything, one kick to the head, shattered confidence, shattered everything, never fought again.
All right, I'm going to wrap us up with this guy's fall from grace didn't happen until about 24 later after he retired. Scottie Pippen.
Oh, wow.
This is a weird fall. So follow me along here. The greatest sidekick of all time, Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan, obviously.
Except for LeBron James.
I forget. That was what, episode 2?
I was like, I think that was episode 2.
Scottie Pippen recently, I mean, The Last Dance happened. The Last Dance documentary came out. Scottie Pippen was very disgruntled with how he was portrayed, even though The Last Dance used a lot of his words in his interview, and there's a lot of public backlash against Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen came out maybe within a year or so, and pretty much he called out Phil Jackson for making a coaching decision based on race, which no one backed him up at all afterwards, saying that he had something. Just hated Michael Jordan. I mean, no one likes Scottie Pippen at this point. It's very sad. I feel bad for the guy. You would think he had enough therapy at this point to kind of reconcile that he wasn't the number one player, but he was the greatest number 2 to ever live. Literally
still
anyone
Hall of Famer, still a top 75 player.
Yeah, something, but he never got the recognition. Yeah, he never got the recognition he deserved. I think we can all accept that, but over the last 20 years, it's just been a spiral and very sad to watch for him.
And on like a social aspect with him and like his crazy ass ex-wife Larsa Pippen, who was just dating Michael Jordan's son,
and they broke up.
Dating
So
Michael
weird.
Jordan's son.
Yeah.
It was just like, what happened?
But everyone loved, and he's the true, real life Robin. Any sports Robin in any sport is, that's the Scottie Pippen to the Michael Jordan. Like his name is implanted in history, and that just wasn't enough for him. I guess he'd much rather have been on a shitty team in the 90s and just kind of an all-star.
He tried with the Trailblazers and the Rockets. He tried.
Yeah, and he just wasn't quite it. And so I feel bad for him mentally that he just couldn't accept like the greatest sidekick role in history. He'd rather been a forgotten all-star. But over the last 5-6 years, he's had a real fall from grace. People don't see him in the same light anymore. He also has trashed Michael Jordan. So pretty much the 90s Bulls of a lot of people's childhood is kind of a broken up band at this point, and they're never going to get back together. So it's super sad because of him. Big ass fall from grace. And it all started because he signed maybe the worst sports contract of all time. So bad that the owner...
He's got to already have a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, he was the most undervalued.
Decision making at the time.
It was horrible.
No one's fault but his own, but wants to just lash out elsewhere.
Yeah, and the owner said you shouldn't sign this contract, but he came from such a impoverished family, where he felt the need to sign this shitty long-term contract. So he became extremely undervalued very quickly in his career and was locked into this contract. So he had a chip on his shoulder that he wasn't valued enough. He was always under Michael Jordan's light, but I don't know, it's really sad to see. On that sad note.
That's a good one. That's a good one. We got a couple honorable mentions. Got a couple honorable mentions here.
Let's hear it, Joey.
I was going to say, do you guys remember, I was going to put Albert Hainsworth.
Albert Hainsworth was a big one.
The first $100 million contract for a defender, and then he came in out of shape and barely. I don't know if he finished the season.
It's the same. No, he didn't. He didn't finish the season. It was the same as the Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp's the big one. 6 consecutive seasons of like all NBA All-Star, gets his money. There's a strike season in 98, shows up in 99 at 350. Like the 350. Oh my God. This dude was playing at like maybe 260, 250 when like as a center. That's what made him so athletic and amazing. But yeah.
Wait, Joey, can you hear that? That's Sean Kemp just knocking up another random woman and a child. That's what.
It's got 7 confirmed. 7 confirmed children with 6 different confirmed women.
6 different women.
You know, remember, listeners, you can now continue to listen to the show, I guess, on other podcast networks that you're currently listening on, because they're on all major podcast networks.
Oh, wow.
And YouTube. All right?
Incredible.
Please consider following and rating the show and leave us a review if you listen through Apple. I'd love to read them. We haven't had one in a while. We encourage you to follow our YouTube channel. Just push that subscribe button. Be a friend. Tell a friend about the podcast. Let's keep this train rolling. We love you. Cody, back to you.
Thanks, Joe. That just about does it for us. Chris, who is sponsoring today's stat of the day as we wrap up?
Ladies and gents, today's stat of the day is brought to you once again by the Juice Boys Fund to purchase the Oakland Athletics.
Yes, please.
The Oakland Athletics need the Juice Junkies. The Oakland Athletics are, more accurately, the homeless Athletics right now.
That's the right
because
city
the
for it.
Athletics are truly a team without a fan base, without an identity, and without a home, as both Oakland and Las Vegas are seemingly disinterested in bringing this once proud club home.
Oh, no.
They have several World Series.
And sure, the Athletics may be shit at playing actual baseball, but we here at the Juice Boys Show want to move them to their new home, Anchorage, Alaska, where they can play for several months under the midnight sun and thrive.
They can do triple headers out there.
So dear, generous, deep-pocketed listener, we here at the Juice Boys Show humbly ask you to dig deep and sign up for a monthly contribution of only $50 million. That's all we ask.
Not bad.
We also promise anyone that pledges more than $250 million per month will get to throw out the first pitch at one game in our inaugural season with Brad Pitt as team manager.
Yeah.
The Juice Boys fund to purchase the Oakland Athletics because Alaska needs a professional baseball team and the Athletics need a home.
They really do. They really do.
It's very true.
Really do.
They're not
They really
wanted.
freaking do.
No.
Dang, guys.
The
What a
Juice
fun
Boys want
episode
us.
here. Chris, we have a stat of the day. I'm going to hand the reins over to Chris, who found one.
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Let's
This
do
week.
it.
I've been waiting. So
What do you
fellas, we've got the NFL draft coming up.
Okay.
Who was the Steelers' last pick in the top 5?
Oh, geez.
Player
I know
or
this.
what? pick
I
was
know
it?
this,
Or
Cody.
what
Go.
year?
No, don't say that. Don't say the year.
Who was
Oh, we need the player
their
name.
last top 5 pick?
Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw.
Oh my God, you both knew that.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
it was Terry Bradshaw.
What are we talking about, Chris? Come on. That's it? That's what we're doing?
Isn't that incredible, though? What was that?
That is
I mean, what
wild.
year? What year? 1973?
70.
1970.
70?
4 years ago. How the hell did you both know that?
I don't know.
Joey and I have these discussions, and we sit there and wonder, why do we know that? Like, what are we doing? Like, why do we? Why
I mean,
is that in
okay,
our
you
head?
talk about a team, a franchise that just knows stability, knows how to win, and knows how to produce top-notch teams every single year. And what did they just do? Made the best decision and got Justin Fields. Drop.
You know what the best decision
That's
is?
a drop.
The best decision is to end this damn show. We took too much of these
Just let
people's
it
time.
end. Just let it end.
Took too much of these 5 people's time. Opening day is Thursday.
Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday. So we will be sure. I think we're going to have a special guest trying to get booked to talk a little bit more
right,
about
baby.
baseball. Hopefully not Shohei Ohtani related, but we will follow that story.
Or could be.
Might
Or it
be.
could be.
Might
It'll be ongoing for a while, so I imagine this will keep coming up. Like
Yeah, we
Cinderella.
will drink to that. Joey is back. We're back. The band's back. Love, love, love.
Let's go, UConn.
Bye.
See you
Let's go,
next week.
UConn. Win my bracket. Salt the sip. Let's go.
Joey, just go on another cruise.